The rental luxury life. This is probably the most common fake influencer lifestyle on the internet now. And honestly, it perfectly explains how social media changed human perception completely. The mansion usually isn't theirs. The Lamborghini usually isn't theirs. The designer clothes, watches, penthouses, private jets, luxury restaurants, expensive vacations, and even successful entrepreneur lifestyle often exist only for the camera. Sometimes influencers rent luxury cars for 1 hour just to take enough photos for an entire month of content. Sometimes they borrow jewelry or bags from friends. Some even rent fake private jet studios built specifically for Instagram photos. Literally, entire businesses now exist purely to help people pretend to be richer online. Rooms designed like jet interiors, fake luxury lounges, fake vacation sets, all because the audience never sees the reality outside the frame. They only see the final edited image. And humans are psychologically vulnerable to status symbols. We naturally associate expensive things with competence, intelligence, attractiveness, and success. Influencers learn this extremely quickly. Looking rich online often becomes more profitable than actually being rich quietly. A creator with luxury aesthetics attracts followers faster. Followers attract sponsorships. Sponsorships create real money eventually. So fake wealth becomes marketing investment. Some influencers are genuinely broke behind the scenes while looking millionaire-level successful online. There are creators drowning in debt while posting financial freedom content every single day. And the craziest part is that sometimes the illusion eventually creates real success. Enough people believe the image that brands start paying attention, which means social media created a world where appearance can literally generate reality. Humans no longer need to become successful first. Sometimes they only need to look successful long enough. The fake happy relationship. Some influencer couples look absolutely perfect online. Matching outfits, romantic vacations, cute captions, constant affection, surprise gifts, deep emotional posts about healthy love. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the relationship may already be emotionally dead. Because influencer relationships are no longer just relationships. They're businesses, they're brands, they're content ecosystems. Once audiences become emotionally invested in a couple, the relationship itself starts generating money. More engagement, more followers, more sponsorships, more attention. Companies love selling products through attractive couples because audiences subconsciously associate romance with trust and happiness. And eventually something disturbing begins happening psychologically. The relationship slowly stops existing naturally. Every moment becomes potential content first. Instead of asking, "Are we happy together?" people start asking, "Will this perform well online?" Romantic moments become staged. Arguments become hidden. Affection becomes exaggerated publicly. Some couples secretly break up months before announcing it because pretending to stay together still makes money. Others continue posting old photos, strategically to maintain the illusion of happiness. Some influencers even manufacture fake relationship drama intentionally. Because conflict increases audience engagement massively, viewers become emotionally addicted to relationship storylines like reality television. And over time, living inside a performance destroys authenticity. Imagine never fully knowing whether somebody loves your real personality or the internet version of you. Imagine needing to smile publicly during emotional breakdowns because your audience expects couple goals, content tomorrow morning. That pressure quietly destroys people mentally. Some influencers become trapped inside relationships. They no longer want simply because leaving would financially damage both careers. The audience thinks they're witnessing real love. Sometimes they're actually watching emotional acting disguised as intimacy. The fake productivity life. This influencer wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning, meditates, journals, reads books, takes cold showers, hits the gym before sunrise, runs multiple businesses, drinks green juice, studies philosophy, answers emails by 7 a.m., at least online. In reality, many productivity influencers spend more time filming productivity than actually being productive consistently. One workout session becomes 30 pieces of content. One aesthetic morning routine becomes weeks of motivational clips. One reading session becomes an entire self-improvement identity online. Because social media rewards the appearance of discipline more than discipline itself. People admire structure deeply. especially modern audiences who feel distracted, overwhelmed, addicted to short-form content, and emotionally unorganized. So influencers package productivity aesthetically: beautiful desks, perfect lighting, expensive coffee, minimalist rooms, clean handwriting, cinematic editing. Productivity becomes visual entertainment instead of practical behavior. And honestly, this affects viewers psychologically more than people realize. Watching productive content creates temporary emotional satisfaction in the brain. It feels like progress even when the viewer changes absolutely nothing in real life. People consume motivation the same way they consume entertainment now. Some influencers discovered they don't even need real achievements anymore. They only need the visual language of discipline. Laptop shots, busy schedules, self-help quotes, fake business calls, gym mirrors. Suddenly, audiences assume ambition exists automatically. The saddest part is that some creators eventually lose genuine motivation entirely because their productive identity became performative. They no longer wake up thinking about goals. They wake up thinking about content. The self-improvement lifestyle stops being self-improvement. It becomes aesthetic branding. The fake travel lifestyle. Travel influencers often look like the freest people on earth. Endless beaches, luxury resorts, mountains, cafes in foreign countries, perfect sunsets, happy smiling faces everywhere. But many travel influencers barely experience the places they visit emotionally because they're too busy documenting them constantly. One beach photo might involve hundreds of shots, outfit changes, tripod setups, editing sessions, staged walking clips, drone footage, retakes, and carefully planned reactions. Sometimes influencers spend entire vacations stressed instead of relaxed because every location becomes a work set. And many influencers aren't traveling nearly as much as audiences think. Some batch months of content during one short trip. Others repost old footage strategically to maintain the illusion of endless adventure. A creator may post, "Living my best life in Greece," while actually sitting at home editing old clips from 6 months ago. The audience experiences a constant fantasy timeline while the influencer experiences normal repetitive life behind the scenes. Social media created a strange psychological shift where people often care more about appearing happy somewhere than actually feeling happy there. Instead of enjoying sunsets naturally, influencers analyze angles, captions, lighting, audience reaction, and engagement performance. The experience becomes secondary to the presentation of the experience. And eventually, even beautiful places stop feeling beautiful because the brain begins treating every moment as content opportunity instead of real life. That's why many influencers secretly burn out during lifestyles audiences desperately envy. Freedom online often hides constant pressure privately. The fake wealth guru. This influencer became a millionaire at 21 apparently. They own multiple businesses apparently. They escaped the matrix apparently. And now they want to teach you how to become rich too. The internet became flooded with fake gurus selling financial freedom, success, passive income, alpha mindset, entrepreneurship, crypto wealth, and millionaire discipline. But many of these influencers make most of their money selling the dream of success instead of actual successful businesses. Their real product is aspiration itself. Luxury cars become psychological marketing tools. Expensive watches become authority props. Penthouse backgrounds become credibility signals. Humans naturally trust visible status because our brains evolved around social hierarchy. If somebody visibly appears wealthy, people subconsciously assume competence exists automatically. Fake gurus understand this perfectly. That's why their content is filled with vague motivational statements instead of measurable expertise. Escape the matrix. Think differently. Stop being lazy. The system is controlling you. These phrases sound deep emotionally while saying almost nothing practical. But emotionally charged language sells extremely well online because audiences often want inspiration more than information. Many fake gurus carefully avoid specifics because specifics can be fact-checked. Vague confidence cannot. And the dangerous part is that desperate audiences become emotionally vulnerable to these personalities. People struggling financially desperately want hope. They want certainty. They want somebody who seems confident enough to explain life simply. Fake gurus exploit this constantly. Some rent luxury lifestyles purely to appear successful enough to sell courses about becoming successful. It becomes a giant psychological loop where fake wealth generates real income through audience belief. The fake body. Social media completely changed human beauty standards forever because bodies online are no longer fully real. Filters reshape faces instantly. Editing apps shrink waists. Angles alter body proportions. Lighting changes skin texture entirely. And eventually, influencers themselves become trapped by the illusion too. Once the edited version receives more attention, validation, and admiration than the real version, reality itself starts feeling inadequate emotionally. Some creators become terrified of public appearances because audiences expect them to look identical to filtered content. Identity splits psychologically into two versions, the real self and the digital self. Maintaining the fake version becomes exhausting mentally because perfection online must constantly be maintained artificially. The fake, relatable personality. Modern audiences hate obvious fake behavior online, so influencers adapted. Instead of pretending to be perfect constantly, many now pretend to be relatable strategically. They act messy, awkward, chaotic, just like everyone else. But often, even the relatability itself becomes calculated branding because audiences trust people who feel authentic emotionally. So influencers intentionally manufacture imperfection now. They leave tiny flaws visible on purpose. Post bad angle photos carefully selected from 50 attempts. Pretend to hate fame publicly while monetizing attention privately. Complain about normal struggles while living lifestyles completely disconnected from ordinary reality. And this creates one of the strangest problems in modern internet culture. Once authenticity becomes profitable, sincerity becomes impossible to measure. Viewers start consuming personality performances instead of actual personalities. Some influencers eventually stop knowing which parts of themselves are real because audience reaction slowly shapes behavior over time. If followers reward vulnerability, creators become more vulnerable publicly. If awkward humor performs well, awkwardness becomes exaggerated. Personality slowly transforms into algorithm optimization. The creator becomes less like a person and more like a character, designed for engagement. The fake generosity influencer. Few things perform better online than emotional kindness. Videos of influencers giving money to strangers, surprising workers with gifts, helping homeless people, paying for groceries, or filming emotional reactions generate massive engagement because humans are naturally emotional creatures. Watching generosity activates empathy psychologically. Audiences love feeling emotionally moved online. And while some creators genuinely help people sincerely, others turn generosity into calculated business strategy. The emotional reaction becomes the product itself. Helping somebody publicly creates views, sponsorships, shares, admiration, and social approval. Some influencers specifically search for emotionally dramatic situations because suffering performs better algorithmically, and eventually generosity itself becomes entertainment. There are creators who spend more time positioning cameras than actually helping. Some record strangers during vulnerable moments purely for content. Others exaggerate emotional situations because stronger reactions increase virality. Kindness becomes monetized performance, which creates an uncomfortable ethical question. If generosity is filmed primarily for attention, how genuine does it remain? The internet blurred the line between helping people and using people emotionally for content. The fake hustle influencer. This influencer never sleeps apparently. Always grinding, always working, always sacrificing, always hustling harder than everyone else. Social media romanticized burnout so aggressively that exhaustion itself became status symbol. Looking busy online now signals ambition, discipline, and importance psychologically. So hustle influencers perform overwork constantly. Midnight laptop photos, business meetings, fake phone calls, screens filled with charts, motivational speeches about sacrifice and loneliness. Some creators build entire identities around appearing overwhelmed productively. But behind the scenes, many exaggerate workload massively because looking ambitious attracts admiration faster than actual long-term results. Modern audiences became emotionally addicted to intensity. Constant grinding looks impressive visually even when it leads nowhere meaningful. And this mindset quietly damages viewers psychologically too. People start feeling guilty for resting. Relaxation begins feeling unproductive emotionally. Hustle culture convinces people that self-worth must constantly be earned through nonstop work. Some influencers secretly live relatively ordinary lives while pretending to operate massive business empires online. The internet stopped rewarding balance. It rewards spectacle, and burnout became spectacle. The fake mental health influencer. This category became extremely complicated because mental health content online exists in a strange gray area between honesty and performance. Some creators genuinely help people by discussing anxiety, depression, trauma, burnout, loneliness, ADHD, or emotional struggles openly. For many viewers, this content genuinely makes them feel less alone. But social media algorithms reward emotional intensity heavily. Sadness performs. Trauma performs. Confessions perform. Emotional vulnerability creates engagement because humans naturally react strongly to pain. And eventually some influencers unconsciously begin turning suffering into identity branding. Every breakdown becomes content. Every emotional moment becomes upload material. Every crisis becomes audience interaction. The creator slowly learns that pain generates attention faster than stability. Millions of views appear under videos titled, "My Lowest Point," "The Truth About My Depression," "Why I Disappeared," "I Finally Broke Down." And once the brain starts associating emotional suffering with validation, things become psychologically dangerous. Some influencers exaggerate instability, unconsciously because emotional chaos increases relevance online. Others become trapped inside permanently fragile internet identities because audiences only engage when the creator appears emotionally broken. The scariest part is that social media often discourages healing accidentally. Recovery is quiet. Stability is repetitive. Healthy mental states usually aren't dramatic enough for algorithms. But emotional collapse creates huge engagement spikes, which means the internet sometimes rewards dysfunction more than recovery. And viewers begin romanticizing suffering too. Mental illness slowly becomes aesthetic online. Sad playlists, crying edits, emotional captions, trauma quotes, entire identities built around sadness. Some people eventually stop asking, "How do I heal?" and start asking, "How do I express my pain aesthetically?" That's where influencer culture becomes genuinely dangerous psychologically. The fake, natural beauty influencer. No makeup. Natural. Glow. Effortless beauty. Just genetics. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, filters, fillers, lighting setups, cosmetic procedures, professional editing, skin smoothing, carefully selected angles, expensive skincare, and multiple retakes remain completely hidden. Social media created an obsession with effortless perfection because humans admire natural beauty more than manufactured beauty psychologically. People want to believe attractiveness happens automatically. So influencers hide effort intentionally. Some spend 3 hours preparing for a just woke up selfie. Others claim their skin transformed naturally while secretly using treatments, procedures, editing tools, or professional lighting. The audience compares themselves against these natural appearances without realizing they're competing against constructed illusions. Teenagers especially absorb these standards aggressively because the brain naturally compares itself socially during development. Over time, completely normal human features start feeling flawed because social media normalized artificial perfection. And eventually, beauty influencers themselves become prisoners of their own image. The audience expects constant perfection permanently. One bad angle suddenly becomes, "You fell off." One unedited appearance creates thousands of comments. The internet slowly removes permission to look human naturally anymore. Beauty online stops being self-expression. It becomes maintenance of expectation. The fake motivation influencer. Some motivational influencers genuinely want to help people improve their lives. But motivation content has a strange psychological trap hidden inside it. Talking about growth can eventually replace actual growth entirely. Some influencers become addicted to sounding wise instead of living wisely. They constantly post about discipline, mindset, success, confidence, purpose, healing, and ambition. And audiences consume this content endlessly because motivation creates temporary emotional energy chemically. Watching self-improvement videos feels productive, psychologically, even when nothing changes practically. The viewer experiences the emotion of progress without actually progressing. This creates a strange loop online. The influencer performs wisdom. The audience consumes inspiration. Nobody meaningfully changes, but everybody feels emotionally productive temporarily. And many motivation influencers secretly struggle with the same problems as their audience. Some are deeply insecure while teaching confidence. Others are financially unstable while teaching success. Some creators carefully curate powerful quotes and life advice while privately feeling completely lost themselves. Because online, appearing enlightened matters more than actually being emotionally healthy. And eventually motivation itself becomes entertainment instead of transformation. People binge-watch productivity speeches the same way they binge-watch Netflix. Self-improvement turns into passive consumption instead of active behavior. The internet figured out how to monetize human insecurity endlessly. The fake perfect life. This is the biggest illusion social media ever created. No human life is perfect, but platforms selectively remove boredom, awkwardness, loneliness, failure, stress, arguments, financial fear, mental exhaustion, relationship problems, uncertainty, and emotional emptiness. The audience only sees highlights edited into identity. Vacation photos, smiling selfies, achievements, aesthetic moments, wins, success, happiness, confidence. Slowly, viewers begin believing everybody else experiences life more beautifully than they do. And this comparison destroys mental health quietly. Because people compare their private reality against somebody else's public performance. Real life always loses that comparison. Real life contains repetitive days, confusion, waiting, fear, messiness. But social media removes almost all of that visually. The influencer lifestyle often looks glamorous externally while hiding burnout, identity confusion, constant pressure, algorithm anxiety, loneliness, comparison addiction, and emotional exhaustion privately. Many creators become terrified of disappearing online because relevance now determines income, validation, and self-worth simultaneously. Imagine feeling like your existence only matters while people are watching you. That's the hidden psychological trap behind influencer culture. Eventually, some creators stop knowing where the performance ends and where the real person begins. The internet version becomes more important than reality itself. The fake, I don't care influencer. One of the funniest fake personalities online is the influencer who constantly pretends they don't care. They act detached, above trends, too cool for validation. They mock social media culture while posting daily on social media. They pretend attention means nothing while carefully tracking engagement statistics every morning. Because ironically, pretending not to care became its own aesthetic online. Some influencers cultivate emotionally detached personalities. Because audiences find confidence attractive psychologically, looking unbothered signals power socially. So creators intentionally act calm, mysterious, sarcastic, or emotionally unavailable even while obsessively monitoring public opinion privately. And this creates another layer of performance. Performing authenticity by pretending not to perform, which honestly summarizes modern internet culture perfectly. The fake, self-made story. Many influencers love presenting themselves as completely self-made success stories. They say things like, "I built this from nothing. Nobody helped me. I came from zero." But often huge advantages remain hidden: family, money, connections, privileged upbringing, industry access, financial safety nets. Some creators genuinely worked hard, but social media often oversimplifies success into motivational mythology because struggle sells emotionally. Audiences love believing success comes purely from mindset and effort because it creates hope psychologically. So influencers carefully remove context from their story. Wealthy backgrounds disappear. Connections disappear. Support systems disappear. The audience only sees the grind, and this distorts reality badly because viewers begin blaming themselves for not achieving unrealistic success under completely different life circumstances. The internet became obsessed with individual success stories because they're emotionally addictive. But behind many self-made narratives exists invisible privilege, quietly shaping everything. The strange thing is that influencer culture didn't invent fake lives. Humans have always performed versions of themselves socially. People have always wanted status, admiration, beauty, validation, and approval. Social media simply industrialized performance completely. Now identity itself became content. Personality became branding. Relationships became marketing. Emotions became engagement. Lifestyle became advertisement. Existence became performance. And the scariest part is this: the more people consume edited lives online daily, the more ordinary reality starts feeling disappointing psychologically. Real life becomes too boring, too slow, too messy, too quiet, too imperfect. But real life was never supposed to look like social media. Real life contains awkwardness, confusion, loneliness, routine, failure, healing, ordinary moments. And those ordinary moments are actually what make human life real. But the internet keeps teaching people to perform life instead of experience it. And eventually, after years of pretending online, some influencers forget who they were before the performance even started. Like and subscribe to the channel for more such explanation videos.